Hey friends, welcome back to the YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Oleg, and Mr. Bond right now is with my mom in suburbs living his best life. In today's video, I'm gonna do a full review of Seiko SARX055, also known as the baby Grand Seiko. I was thinking long and hard about the way to do this review, what would be the best version of this review, how you would get the most value from this video, and I think the best way to do this review would be to give you 5 things that I like and 5 things that I dislike about this watch, and I think that's gonna give you a pretty good idea what this watch is all about and what my opinion at the end of the day is about this timepiece. I'm a positive person for the most part, so let's get started with the 5 things that I like about this watch. Number 1, it has to be the dial. If you look at any YouTube videos of this watch, if you read any articles about this timepiece, you will see every single one pointing out the dial. Under the right lighting conditions, this dial looks amazing. The way it plays with the light, the way it shines, the way it sparkles is just next level. I wouldn't say it resembles freshly fallen snow like a Grand Seiko does. To me, the dial resembles more of a frost on the window or frost on the lake, not so much that fallen snow. And of course that looks amazing. However, that's not the thing that I like the most about this dial. The thing that I like the most about this dial is the thing that not a lot of people talk about, is how understated this dial really is. If you look at the pictures, if you look at the proper videos with the macro shots, with the proper studio lighting, you see the best version of this dial, the best possible version. However, in real life conditions, the dial doesn't sparkle, it doesn't shine as much. It's a little reserved, it's a little understated, and for some people it might even be a little underwhelming. So if you're looking to buy this watch, don't expect a crazy dial that's gonna catch your eye right away. It's not. It's a very understated, muted dial that at first glance seems a little underwhelming, honestly. But if you know what you're looking for, if you look at it from the right light conditions, especially if you look at it under some macro shots, you really start appreciating all the details and all the work that went into creating this dial. So my favorite thing about this dial is how understated it really is. The second thing that I like about this watch are the finishes. Now we could talk about the case finishes, bracelet finishes, and dial and indices finishes. So let's talk about the case finishes first. First of all, the bracelet and the case are made out of titanium. Titanium is a very difficult material to polish. Some people in a comment section of my unboxing video for this watch said that titanium is pretty much impossible to polish and that it's probably not titanium or it has some special coating on top of titanium. I did some research and indeed it is possible to polish titanium. It's just very difficult, very time consuming, and it requires a lot of handwork. The mirror polish on the case looks so good that you don't even know that it's a titanium case. You assume it's a stainless steel watch, but once you hold it in your hands, right away you have that giveaway, the weight of the watch, and you know that it's titanium. Kind of plays with your mind a little bit. The brushed or satin finishes are executed really well. Also, they look muted. They have a little bit of a different look as comparing to something like a stainless steel bracelet. Here's a look of this watch next to a Rolex Explorer. Rolex, of course, having that oyster steel and this watch having titanium. You can kind of see the difference in color. This watch looks a little bit more gray-blue, and the stainless steel looks a little bit more of gray silver. That is the difference, at least to my eye. Despite the color differences between the two finishes, the quality of both finishes are fantastic. The finish on the Seiko is very close to a Rolex finish, which is amazing. However, the most impressive finish to me personally is the finish on the indices and on this set of hands. The mirror-like finish plays with the light really well. There are no corners cut, there are no rough edges even under macro shots. This dial just looks amazing, and in my opinion, the way these indices and hands play with the light more than makes up for the muted look of the dial. So the dial doesn't play with the light as much as these indices do. The third thing that I like about this watch is the comfort on the wrist. As I mentioned, this is a titanium case watch weighing only 100 grams on the bracelet. For a quick comparison, My Rolex Explorer, which is 39 millimeters, weighs about 140 grams on the bracelet. So this one is about 40% lighter, and you can definitely feel that difference. It's incredibly comfortable to wear all day. Sometimes you even forget that you have this watch on the wrist. Once you have a titanium watch on your wrist for an extended period of time, all stainless steel watches just seem a little overweight. The fourth thing that I really like about this watch is the design behind this watch. It's a very simple design at a first glance. It's just a simple three-hander with a date. There are no crazy complications. It doesn't really have any crazy out-of-the-box design elements, and that's why I really like this watch. It's a perfect everyday watch. You can wear it with some business casual clothes, wear it to your office, wear it all day, and it will perform really well. It wouldn't really look out of place in pretty much 99% of different situations. It has that sporty appearance to it, so you could wear it with some sporting clothes. It also has that dressier side to it, so you could wear it with a suit, although I wouldn't really recommend wearing this watch as a dress watch. You could if you wanted to. It's just a very versatile everyday timepiece. On top of that, its simplicity is actually its greatest strength. It doesn't have too much writing on it. Presage automatic written closer to the 6 o'clock position, applied Seiko logo closer to the 12 o'clock position, and that's it, except for the little Japanese movement written all the way at the bottom there. The date window integration is excellent, nice frame around it. If it were up to me, maybe I would change the rail track for seconds, make it a little bit more elegant. Right now, it looks a little bit too sporty for this type of a watch. Other than that, the design of it is great. The design of the case is great. It's very angular, has nice alternation between brushed and polished finishes. The crown at the 3 o'clock position, signed crown of course, and we even have display case back. So all those elements I really like. The design of this watch is a winner in my book. And fifth and final thing that I really like about this watch is the bracelet. What? Someone likes a Seiko bracelet? That's gotta be the first. I know, I'm surprised to say it myself. Usually Seiko doesn't make the best bracelets, especially in the lower price categories. With this one, they nailed it. I already talked about the finishes of the bracelet. I already talked about the quality of the bracelet, and I even touched on the comfort of this bracelet. When you put all those things together, you add these polished accents on the bracelet that add a lot of visual interest to it. It just makes for such a great, comfortable bracelet on a watch. I love wearing this watch. I love wearing this watch on a bracelet. I don't love the clasp so much, and we're gonna talk about the clasp in the negatives, but the bracelet itself, I think Seiko nailed it. They hit it out of the park. So those were the 5 things that I like about baby Grand Seiko. Now let's talk about the 5 things that I'm not a huge fan of. Number 1, the clasp. More specifically, the lack of micro adjustments. The clasp itself is really nice. It's comfortable, it's slim, it's small, it doesn't take up too much real estate on your wrist, it feels secure, it feels solid. However, it doesn't have any micro adjustments. The bracelet does come with a couple of half links, so you are able to adjust it to your wrist size. However, if your wrist kind of expands or contracts depending on the season, depending on the weather, well, you're out of luck. You have to use the collar and pin system to adjust the bracelet. And that's actually my only negative with this bracelet, is that collar and pin system. Seiko claims that their titanium watches need to have that collar and pin system. It's just better to use that system on titanium bracelets. They even have the same collar and pin system on their Grand Seiko, which is about 5 times the price of this watch. I don't know if they're trying to save some money or if there's any validity to that claim. Nevertheless, if you want to adjust the size of the bracelet, you have to take out some pins, you have to adjust the links. There are no micro adjustments, which in my book is a pretty big negative. The second thing that I don't really like about this watch is the diameter. I think the overall size is pretty good. It's a good proportionate watch. 41mm diameter, 46mm from one lug to another, 20mm lug opening, and it's only 11.5mm thick. All those sound pretty good on paper. However, looking at it on your wrist, I would prefer this watch slimmer by a couple of millimeters. Make this watch 39 and it would look much better on the wrist. The rest of the proportions can stay the same, still keep the same 46mm from one lug to another, keep the same thickness. The third thing that I don't really like about this watch is this minute's hand. Don't get me wrong, the finish on the minute's hand is fantastic, the design of these hands are great, but the minutes hand is just slightly too short. It needs to be a little bit longer. I know I'm getting a little nitpicky here, but hey, if you spend $1,000 on the watch, you expect things to be almost perfect. Which brings me to my next point and the fourth thing that I don't really like about this Seiko SARX055, the price. $1,000 for this watch. It's pretty expensive. It's not a cheap watch. Yes, it has some pretty great finishes. It's a titanium case. It's all in-house made, and overall value for money, it's okay, but $1,000 is $1,000. In this price category, they are competing with some great Swiss-made timepieces. They're competing with some great micro-brand watches, and I think a lot of consumers are not willing to spend $1,000 for a Seiko. It really took me a long time to decide whether I want to buy this watch or not. $1,000 is a lot of money. If this watch was $700 or under, I think it would be a killer deal. At $1,000, you have to give it a little bit more thought. And my last negative, the fifth thing that I don't really like about this watch, the movement. 6R15 automatic movement. That kind of contributes to making this watch not as good value for money and making this watch priced a little bit too high, because you can find the same movement in Seiko SARX models. Of course, they are discontinued now and the prices are creeping up. You used to be able to get one for about $300. Now the prices are closer to $500. Nevertheless, you can still get the same movement in a Seiko watch for half the price. It's not a bad movement. It has 24 joules, beats at 21,600 vibrations per hour, has 50 hours of power reserve, and this one is pretty accurate. Mine is running plus 5 seconds per day, which isn't fantastic, but it's alright. In my opinion, Seiko should either lower the price and keep the same movement in this watch, as I suggested, about $700, or if they want to keep the same price, they should upgrade the movement. As it is right now, it's not a high bit movement. This movement could be found in cheaper watches. It's not a very accurate movement, and it's not a particularly beautiful movement to look at. So the movement is a weak part of this watch. It's kind of underwhelming, and for sure Seiko should do something about that. That's it. That's the video. 5 things that I like about the Seiko, 5 things that I dislike about the Seiko. Overall, I'm really happy that I bought this one. After about 2 months, it has been consistently on my wrist. I'm glad that it has that DiaShield coating on it, so I'm not really scratching it. It does have some scratches on the clasp. That's very usual. Other than that, the watch is still in a really good condition. That's a huge relief to me personally, because I wear my watches kind of rough, and with titanium cases, they are a little bit softer. This one here, I'm happy to report, wears well and has held up so far pretty well. I don't see this watch leaving my collection anytime soon. I'm not planning to flip it, and I think this is kind of a good stepping stone to the Grand Seiko, to spending a little bit more money on a Seiko watch. I know that this is not a Grand Seiko, it's not their quality yet, but this gives me a pretty good idea and a little bit more confidence to try to step up to that next level in the next few years or so. I appreciate you watching this video until the end. Please give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We release new videos every week. We just reached 25,000 subscribers. A huge thank you to everyone who subscribes to the channel, who watches these videos, who likes, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Let's get to that 30,000 subscribers, and leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you think about this Seiko SARX055. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you have one in your collection? Leave all those thoughts below. I always enjoy reading your comments. By the way, today on my wrist, I'm wearing the Jeanneau Ocean Rover. I did a full review of this watch. That video can be found on the YouTube channel. I will also leave it linked in the description below. Also in the description below, there are a couple of other links. The first link is a secret link. Have a look if you're curious. The second link is a link to bondnativstraps.com if you're looking for a great quality native strap and want to support this YouTube channel at the same time. Buying one of these native straps is a great way to do so. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you had fun, and I'll see you guys next time.